Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Miss Farrah here. Time for another discussion, should I say. Hope everyone had a really good January. So glad it's finally February now. January felt like it went on for about 7 months, I have to just say. Um, it was a good month, but it was a long month. I'm very glad to be in February, which I'm sure is going to fly by for all of us. Anyway, today's topic, what I wanted to talk about is something that about the fact that I got a comment on my video, one of my previous videos where I was talking about being post-op or pre-op, and I got a comment on that video from. I'm not going to say their name. I'm not going to give them any kind of platform or whatsoever because I just don't like people with that kind of bitter attitude. But anyway, they basically said to me because I'd made a decision to stay pre-op and I didn't want to go post-op, that I was not a real transsexual and I was just a transvestite because only a real transsexual woman is post-op. And so I wanted to address this issue, and it is an issue. It's a big issue in our trans community as far as it's not a big issue for everybody else because everyone else is just trying to get used to the understanding the fact that we were born one gender and we're living our life as another gender. I think they find that confusing enough. So this is an issue within our trans community. And I'm sure other trans women have experienced this. I'd be interested to hear from any trans men if there's any situations like this that have happened for them, where other trans men say that they're not really trans for doing or not doing certain things. So I'd really be interested to hear from any trans men out there who understand this issue, but for the opposite way, if that makes sense. So I wanted to discuss this because, trans people are the same as everybody else. There is not one ideal way to be a trans person. The same as there's not one way to be a man, there's not one way to be a woman. We all have different ways that we live our lives. We all have different personalities. We all have different aspects of our gender and our sexuality. They're all on a spectrum, and we all sit in different places on that spectrum. So you can't define one person by another person. It's just ridiculous. And the same goes with trans women. If someone decides not to go post-op, it doesn't mean they're not really trans. It does not mean that their mind is female. It does not mean that they identify as a woman. You can't define someone by their genitalia or their decisions for not having major surgery or not. For me, that was a big factor. Obviously, that's how I felt comfortable with what was there. I didn't want to have a big operation to have something done that I didn't know how it was going to feel, because me being a woman is not anything to do with what's between my legs. It's how I feel in my head and what my brain is telling me. So that it doesn't make any difference for me what's there. Now, I completely understand, respect, and I have no problem with other trans people wanting to have that operation done because that's what's right for them and that's important to them. So it's none of my business, and I would never think ever that I had the right to tell someone how they should be living their life, because I would not like that. So, and I'm also well aware that people who leave these kind of comments have no pictures and they're basically just looking for a reaction. And it doesn't affect me. I've been around a long time. People's negative comments don't have any effect on me because, the only people's opinions I care about are my friends and family. Everybody else's, if I don't know somebody, as a nice compliment is very nice and always appreciated. I always appreciate nice comments and interactions with people, of course, don't get me wrong. But negative comments don't affect me because I don't know the people personally, so why should I care what this person thinks of me? And as RuPaul said, what somebody else thinks of you is none of your business. So I don't get involved in that kind of thing. But I thought it was an important thing to discuss today because it really worries me that trans women especially, are on this quest to become as passable as possible. And to be a trans woman means that you have to be female in every inconceivable way. And it's like, why are you so afraid to be a trans woman? Why are you so ashamed of being trans? I get why you're ashamed and scared of it, because we've been made to believe that it's something wrong, that we shouldn't be who we are. We shouldn't even be walking on this planet if it was if some people had their way. But the more we keep feeding into other people's ways of society, it's always going to be that way. We need to start standing up for ourselves, and we need to start being proud of being trans, and we need to start being happy with being trans. As I said before, no amount of surgery is going to turn you into a genetic woman, and no amount of surgery is going to make you actually feel like a woman. You have to accept who you are, and you have to accept being trans, and you have to accept that you're always going to be trans, and no matter how much surgery you have and how good your life gets, those feelings of being trans are not going to go away unless you accept them and deal with them and start living your life being proud to be who you are. And there's nothing wrong with being a trans person, and there's nothing wrong with going as far or as little as you want with having surgeries as being a trans woman, because it's about your mind and how you identify yourself. As if you identify as female, then you're female. That's it. Because no one questions a man when he says, "Well, I'm a man," and it's like, what? So we're just supposed to believe you, or do we go on how you look? Well, then that should be the same. Even if someone is not genetically female, if they are presenting themselves as female and they say they are female, then they're female. What other reason or right do you have to question their gender when it's very clear physically and visually that they are female? So I don't understand why, when you're trans, if you haven't had this or that done, then even another trans person thinks they have the right to say, "Oh, you're not really trans because you didn't do what I did." Well, of course I didn't do what you did, because I'm not you. So, it doesn't work that way. We all have our own paths and our own story and our own journey on our transition, and everyone's different, and everyone can do as much or as little as they want. And they don't need to have ridicule from their peers telling them that they're not really trans if they haven't done this or that. I would just like to say personally that for all my trans brothers and sisters out there, I don't care how much surgery you've had or what you've done. All I care about from you, and the same as all I care about from other people, is who they are as people and their personality. I only judge people on their personality and the way they are towards me and other people. If I don't like somebody, which is very rare because I don't like to not like people. I don't like to have that kind of feeling or vibe going on in my mind or about somebody else, because I just don't think it's healthy for anybody. You know, but if there is someone who I find I can't be around or annoy me or something, it's because of their personality and the way they act as a person towards me and other people. It has nothing to do with their race, religion, skin color, their gender, their decisions for surgery, and all of those kind of things, because those are none of my business. I only care about the interaction I have with them and what I see their interaction with other people and how they act and the way they are as a person. That's all I care about from somebody else, and I would like to think that other people look and think of me in the same way. That's all I wanted to say today. It was kind of more of a reaction video to a comment that I had from a previous video. If you have not seen that video, then go check it out. It's on my channel. It's about should I go pre-op or post-op. Go and have a look. And do leave your comments and views if you have any to put, even if whether you agree with me or you don't. It doesn't matter. That's the point. I don't mind people disagreeing with what I'm saying. I just don't want nasty comments, because nobody wants nasty comments, and they're not needed. And people, it's important to listen to other people's opinions. I always enjoy and welcome other people's opinions and views, because that's life and we should all be able to do that. But there's a big difference between someone's opinion and their view to someone trying to be nasty and horrible just for the sake of it. Big difference. Anyway, everybody, have a wonderful day, and I will speak to you soon.